The goal of this presentation is to help teachers understand copyright law, dispel misconceptions, and encourage teachers to practice determining fair use in their classrooms. The presentation is based on information provided by Renee Hobbs in her book, Copyright Clarity. There are certain things in life that teachers fear: full moons, indoor recess, the day after Halloween. The fear I'm going to address is copyright infringement. It makes some teachers nervous because it is difficult to understand, vague, and confusing. By the end of the presentation, you will have the tools and strategies you need to help you decide when and how to appropriately use copyrighted material to better educate your students. But what is copyright? According to Renee Hobbs, copyright is the owner's legal right to reproduce, display, transmit, or modify work they've created. It's a type of author's right. With all the multi-million-dollar lawsuits in the news lately, it may appear that the purpose of copyright law is for the creators to make money. The following provides two examples of stories that occurred this year, where artists were ordered to pay extreme amounts of money for similar-sounding songs. The truth is, the purpose of the law is to encourage creativity and new ideas amongst artists, writers, and innovators. According to the Constitution, a copyright system can be established to promote the progress of science and useful arts. While that idea has been distorted over time, it is important for educators to remember this when making decisions about the use of copyrighted materials in their classrooms. As educators, our work falls under the Doctrine of Fair Use, Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. This allows us to use copyrighted material without permission or payment under certain conditions. But what are these conditions? This is what can be confusing. Companies have tried to make checklists and flowcharts, lists of hard rules to follow when determining fair use, but these are often misleading. As Hobbs explains, these charts and graphs have only given us copyright confusion. The first step in determining fair use is to consider transformativeness. Hobbs explains that transformativeness is the term used for the repurposing of copyrighted materials in a way that is different from what the creator intended. For example, the original image of a politician on the left was taken for PR purposes, while the altered image on the right was used to promote a controversial event. The altered image was repurposed from the original in a way that adds value. Furthermore, why am I as an educator allowed to use this image in my presentation? The author included the image on his blog to analyze the decisions made about it in a copyright lawsuit. I am using the image to educate teachers in the concept of transformativeness. Here is another example of using transformativeness, but in your classroom. The original photo was simply copied from Wikipedia, while the meme is transformative. The purpose of the original photo is just to give an image of Pluto, while the meme was supposed to encourage a meaningful discussion about planets, moons, perspectives in the elementary classroom. To determine fair use, I asked myself these two questions. Did I repurpose? Was my use of the image different from the author's intention? Did I add value? Did I make the use of the image meaningful to my situation? What would violate fair use? As an educator, we have access to a lot of curriculum material. If I were to copy pages from my district's textbook to share with a friend in another district to use in their classroom, I am violating copyright law, and so is my friend. We did not repurpose, we did not add value. Hobbs explains that it's not fair to make large numbers of copies and distribute them in ways that replace or substitute for the original work. My goal for this presentation is for teachers to remember that you have the right to determine fair use. To emphasize this, Hobbs urges educators to exercise their right. Instead of relying on lawyers or librarians to tell us what is and what is not fair use, educators and students need to do this for themselves. You may still wonder, but what if I make the wrong decision? Section 504 of the Copyright Act includes a reasonableness standard that protects infringers who believe that their use of copyrighted material was fair use. Hobbs explains that this defense is intended to protect educators who are doing their job well. Another thing that confuses some teachers is the fact that copyright infringement is looked at on a case-by-case basis. This can make some people nervous because it is vague and overwhelming and difficult to understand. However, I see this as the opposite. We spend countless hours making sure our lessons address certain educational objectives and that our students understand these objectives. Let's trust our educational decisions and use them to help us determine fair use. Use it for our advantage. Remember to ask yourself, did I repurpose? Did I add value? Are you ready to exercise your rights?